Alright guys, hey guys, what's up? It's Schla coming back to ya with take 2 of Car Rides with Schla. I started the first recording and then decided to stop it to do something. But we are in business now. Friends, we're in business now. So sadly I didn't get to paste the transcripts from last night's Car Rides with Schla in because I was personally pretty happy with it. But I guess what can you do? I just didn't do it. On the bright side, I actually got to bed at the time I wanted to yesterday, and in addition to that, what did I do? Got to bed when I wanted to yesterday, and let's see. Oh yeah, like I woke up I think earlier on a work day than I have, I mean, in months. Like I've really, well, I don't know if it's been months, but because there could have been like a one-off day where I was doing pretty good. But the main point is like it's probably only been an extremely small amount of times that I've woke up this early on, you know. Now, I didn't really get out of the house on time because part of that was anticipatory, you know. So it wasn't like I'm not going to be early, sadly. So, but like it is what it is. We made things work. We're making things work. And yeah, we're here. But it was good. I mean, I slept good. It said my deep was low. I'm assuming that's why it only gave me like an 80 something sleep score, but kind of think that's stupid because I did strike a full 2 hours of REM, so I'm not. Yeah, I don't know. It just seems like kind of tough for me to get the deep, but it could be because no, I don't even think there was that much variation from last night. So there could just be, I'm not sure why that scores like that. I mean, I guess it makes sense, but I'd think like a full 2 hours of REM really should like really boost it up more than that, more than just like 80s. I don't know. That's just my that's just my opinion about it though, but I'm not working the algorithm. You know what I mean? Like that's not my domain, so it is what it is. But yeah, it's kind of a shame we're trying to figure out what we're doing here. But I wish I was a little bit earlier, but it is what it is. It's just, what can you do? Not gonna be late. Well, unless there's like weird, strange traffic or something, but you know. So the conversation I was talking about last night, it was kind of cut short, and I didn't really feel like I got to process my thoughts properly, like in the way I would have wanted to. So maybe I can take a debt. It's like that advice, like don't put effort into the things you can't change. Um, and how I guess it's like fundamentally true, but then it's like at the same time, I think it creates like a societal complacency. That's kind of the problem with it because it definitely makes you feel like, oh, well, I can't change this, so we just shouldn't do anything about it. And any like major, super important, I guess, thing that has ever happened, really, especially politically, like it was It was people who believed in the change, even when most other people would obviously have not believed in the change, that like they muscled through it. And you get people together and you change minds, or you really move forward. And that's just what comes to mind. Is it's like, yeah, I mean, as a personal advice, as a selfish advice, that idea that you shouldn't stress about what you can't control is pretty relevant. It's like, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things that I think about, for example, they're not in my control at all. I'm not going to be able to fix them. But and they probably do cause me some kind of stress, some kind of unnecessary stress, and that's not really good for me. But I don't think that really diminishes the merit of me engaging with it. Like I think that it's all like it's still good. It's still very good and productive conversations, you know? So it's just important things to keep in mind, I suppose. Like I don't know. So yeah, I mean there's really two angles of that argument. Like in my opinion, I would make the argument that it's not necessarily about like things you can't control, wasting bandwidth worrying about things you can't control or things you can't change. I think it's about like the how what is the thing that you're worried about, because a lot of times it's things that like don't really matter, right? And so that's kind of where I've thought about like making a statement before, like really the world would be a better place if people were more anxious. And I think at first that comes off kind of rough. You like it's like, man, you're trying to wish anxiety upon people. Yeah. I mean, I literally think that the world, if everybody had more anxiety, that it would be a better place in modern civilization, within the framework of modern civilization. I do believe that the world would be a better place. However, that comes with the caveat of, what type of anxiety is it? Is this like anxiety about things that are very large, very real, very productive? Or is this somebody who gets anxious about going to their job, right? There's a huge difference in terms of what a person is anxious about. But I think that's like important to clarify, because I think many people just see anxiety as a bad thing we have to get rid of. I actually think there's probably not enough of it. There's probably not enough people who are anxious about like a lot of these larger humanity concerns. And really the only reason we don't see more attention brought to it is because people are unaware, you know? So you kind of have to straddle that with like an aware anxiety is a really good thing. Like if you're anxious but it's about something that is like very vetted and true and clear, versus like, again, some people get anxieties and phobias over things that, there isn't, like it isn't super valid, objectively speaking at least. Because again, this is why I think a lot of people, like it's difficult for me to interact with them, because I'm really thinking objectively when I think about things. I really think objectively, and most people might think objectively for a very small amount of their thoughts, but it's mostly front and center subjective. So when it comes to how people reason and process things, it's actually really off, because it usually is asserting like their own self into the equation. And I mean, in this case, that kind of happens with me because I kind of skew things more towards what's objective and not necessarily like, oh, well, somebody could just have an opinion. Because I personally don't think the opinion thing is really all that valuable. Because I mean, I've got better with that too. Because I mean, I like now I try to think about that and I try to, but I'm saying I don't think it's all that valuable to understand like other people's subjectivity, because it's not, that doesn't necessarily require, well, maybe it does. What I was going to say though is I don't think it necessarily requires like a higher cognitive capacity. But then again, I mean, to some extent it does, but I think like comprehending the objective clearly is kind of trapped behind like, can somebody comprehend things? Because the comprehension of reality is it's very difficult. There's a lot of like variables. Comprehending that like everybody has a different subjective opinion, I just don't think it's as intellectually rigorous. I don't think so, but I know it's like I guess a different kind of conscientiousness, of course, like it is. It's just like a different, it is just like a different kind of conscientiousness, you know. But I do think it's a little bit more accessible, like, because you meet a lot of people like that. I mean, not everybody. Most people seem to be at least relatively selfish, but there's still a lot of people who like care about other people. There's a lot of people like that. I don't meet a lot of people who really understand like objective issues. I really don't. When you get into like politics or religion or things like that, I do think that is like a step higher. You know, that's just, I could be wrong because I'm just guessing. Like I don't have the AI to kind of like vet out my sourcing for this right now, but again, just based on what I see, it's like there's a lot of people who care about feelings and care about others and understand people, but there's not a lot of people that actually understand like very clearly what's what in the world and what's fair, what's not fair. Like there's just not many people like that. I don't encounter them like very often, if at all, really. It takes, I think it just takes so much for people to understand or think about like systems level issues. And it's not, again, and it kind of circles around to this broader point that it's not beneficial. Like it's like if you understand that the system's broken and you know what's wrong with it, you know what you need to change it, doesn't really help you. It'll cause you more stress potentially. It'll alienate you socially potentially, you know, but it doesn't really benefit. So that's kind of the problem with it. There's just not really a benefit. Um, and in my case, it's just always been an interest of mine. So I don't know. Just like how things have gone, really. So, but yeah, I mean, it's difficult because I think a lot of people, they assert things incorrectly. I'm just realizing now, I think I forgot my other pair of AirPods, which is a little bit annoying. I didn't forget them, like, literally, but I forgot. Again, I'm pretty sure I just never put them back in the case. So, yeah, that would be a first time that that's happened. Kind of annoying, but I'm trying to double check, and the center console won't shut. Don't understand what's... And I'm driving, so I can't. There we go. I'm pretty sure. So, I mean, it's kind of annoying, but I doubt these are gonna be... Oh no. Wait, what? Wow. Look at me. I'm shocked. I actually... Today's been like such a good day. I don't know when I even put those back in the case. Like, I don't even remember doing it. Wow. No, I'm just like really blown away because I really thought I had forgotten to put them back in the case, but they're in there. So I literally like barely even remember doing that, but good on me. But yeah, there's I just don't I mean I feel like when I talk to people, like, this is a legitimate problem. Their their reasoning is, it's like it's just not complete, you know? Like, I don't think people can really quantify how bad things are numerically. They don't really see the urgency and how badly things need to be fixed. There's a lot of people that I think things are going to be possible that aren't, you know? And a lot of people are broadly too optimistic about the system and just don't really understand how things work, you know? Because really, it's true. Like, the glory days of capitalism are over. We're not going to be able to fix things in the way we did in the past. The infrastructure was not really planned out properly. And so there are definitely dark days ahead. And I just think some people are kind of not understanding that is not, you know, things are just not going to be like how they were when we were riding an exponential population growth. It's impossible to have like as good of an economy. I guess the only way that we could not that could be reversed though is if we're on like the good timeline when it comes to robots and AI. Like, that is legitimate because we obviously didn't have that in the past, and that could revolutionize income and just how society functions. Because again, um, hypothetically, if you don't need people to work, then, you know, that opens up a lot. Like, I don't know, but it does get difficult when you get into like who deserves what and how and why. Because it's, I mean, in a system like that, you know, I've heard of a bunch of different ideas, but I'm realizing like the problem with it. If you have everybody has a designated robot that kind of works for them and they get all the wages from the robot, like, that's fine, but I don't really think that even adds up. Because yeah, that doesn't even make any sense to me. Because how would you determine, like, well, who gets the higher paying robot? Because obviously some robots would be doing more important tasks than others. So how does that even make any sense? Like, I don't, that doesn't, I wasn't even thinking about that. And then who deserves the better robots and not? I mean, in a society where like robots do everything and we just all get paid equal, that's kind of fine, but I'm sure there's a lot of caveats with that. You know, I mean, even with the first idea, it's like, what are people really going to do with all that time? I don't really think we're ready for that. Like, I think there's certain people like me where, but even myself, like when I wasn't working, I don't, I don't know. Like, I think I was handling things relatively well. I mean, there were certain issues like, I think I didn't really have my life together, but you know, like um, assuming like my life right now, if I got things together and didn't have to work and just still got money, like, I think I would handle that fairly well. I think even still though, I think working, like, it's hard to say. It probably has been a good thing for me, probably. I mean, you know, as a result of working, I probably have been less able to do creative work, which is kind of frustrating, you know. But yeah, cuz like sometimes I feel like it's like, what am I even working for? Like, I should really just be working on my craft, you know, speaking, even music. Like, I really should be working on these things because I feel like they're real talents of mine, you know? And it's like, I don't, what I'm doing now, it's like good. It's a good situation for sure, but you know, I'm thinking about like, what am I really capable of, you know? What should I really be doing? Like, it's like I'm in a safe spot. I obviously don't want to do anything rash because I'm not that kind of a person at all. I really value security and stability. But it's like, at the same time, it's, I don't know that I'm somebody that should be doing what I'm doing, like a 9 to 5. It's like, I'm doing it and I can do it fine. I can do it well, all that stuff, right? But like, am I better suited elsewhere? Like, am I better suited just making my podcast and being able, like, I know it hasn't taken off yet, but that's because I'm not, like, I don't know. There's a lot of things like I'm not doing. I'm not really doing any entertaining stuff mixed in with this. It's just on a car ride. I mean, in order to really be a podcaster, I'd have to have, and I don't even think I'm ready. Bear in mind, I don't even think I'm ready, you know. But I'm saying I really do, I really have thought about that. It's like, I don't feel that I belong just working a job. I don't feel that, but I'm fine with that. Like, I'm fine with that. I'm good. I'm happy with my job. But you see what I'm saying? It's like, I'm fine with it. I'm happy with it, but I feel like I belong elsewhere. And I could be wrong, but I also could be right. Like, it's, you know what I'm saying? Cuz I'm not like one of those people that's just like, "Oh, I can't imagine working. Oh, I can't." Like, no, I feel like what I'm doing, it is like a type of work. I think a lot of people, the amount that I talk, the amount of things that I talk about would be a lot of work for some people. They wouldn't be able to pull it off. You know what I mean? I think most people would not have maintained this car rides with schla. Like, it's just, most people wouldn't do that. You know what I mean? So um that's just what I think about, you know? And I'm just, maintaining this for now because it's good. I don't really think I'm ready to be like doing my own thing yet, but I just wonder if after like a couple years, like where I'm gonna be thinking at that point, you know? If I'm gonna feel like a little bit more hungry or have like more of an appetite for this stuff and yeah, it's just like I don't know. I don't know, maybe like a clearer idea of what to do, just like things like that, you know? So, yeah, like it's all interesting. It's definitely all like interesting. I think so at least, you know. But yeah, I've definitely thought of I've really been considering it. You know, I really have been considering it. All right. So yeah, it's but I don't know that like I said, I'm in a good spot right now. I still don't really think I'm ready. Oh right, but I was correlating this to the idea that as like a species we're not really ready, and I think that's true. Like I think most people would not handle well um not working. Like I don't know, cuz I don't even think I was handling that well, and I think I handled it better than most people would. So it's like that's why I don't even think like humanity's not even ready for that like at all. Like right now, if we look at humanity and what people do with their free time, most people who have free time do not use it well. Like as a trend, as a trend. Some people do use it well. Some people get into exercising and health and all that stuff, but a lot of people end up just using free time and then they just like play video games all the time, and then like they're not exercising, they're not sleeping well. It like completely destroys them. And if they were actually forced to do more, like just forced to adhere, well, no, actually, that's not even true either. Because there's a lot of people who are forced to adhere to a 9 to 5, and then their life probably is worse just within modern society. I mean, if it wasn't for modern society, like if I guess if they didn't have like a phone, then they'd probably be better off if they were forced to work a 9 to 5. But I think a lot of people like it's literally like it's insane. Like technology and modern kind of society and environments. I mean, it literally destroys some people. Like it just I just think it completely destroys some people. Not everybody, but that's kind of what I'm saying. If we look at what free time does as a trend, it's not good unless it's in like a good environment, and we come to find out phones are not good for us, broadly speaking, they're not. So it just doesn't have a good effect on the bulk of the population. Sorry, I don't know. I just randomly got on the because there's like a newer Buick in front of me, so I randomly started going through a spiral about how Buick in China is better than Buick in America. They have like way more models and stuff, and also how like I'm sure there might be other examples, but I think Lincoln and Buick had maybe certain models that were actually made in China because they sold better in China than America. I think, again, I don't really know if this is still the case or if I'm just making stuff up, but it was like the Chinese made American car models were actually more reliable than the American made ones. So I just had this like whole like tangent in my head about that. That's what the silence was about. I don't really know if that's completely true though. I didn't really vet that. I may have just been erroneously connecting dots and stuff, but yeah, it's I don't know. I don't know what I'm. But yeah, so for now, like I'm obviously still going to be working for a while, I think, but I think it's going to be a question that repeatedly comes up. The whole like what I could be doing, what I should be doing, because it's fine. I mean, I actually, like I said, I'm not like other people. I've seen videos before where people are like, oh, I could never imagine working a 9 to 5 for the rest of my life. Like, I need to stop doing this. Um, I can't be doing this, like all this stuff like that. And I'm not even like that. Like, I mean, I think I'm fortunate with the job I have. Like, my job's great, but well, yeah, maybe my mind would change in that case. But yeah, like I mean, I just think it's different because it's like I don't want to just like not work and then just like play video games. Like now I realize, I think, based on, I'm not sure, but I think I do have a skill when it comes to communication. I think I have a unique way of looking at things where, my opinion being out there is a good thing. I believe that. Um, and maybe I'm not ready for it quite yet because I'm still young. Some people it takes longer than other people, especially I guess with the type, my strengths, like the way my strength, why am I, oh my gosh, the way my strengths are, they really wouldn't have manifested until this later stage. Like, I don't, you know what I mean? Like, it would, like, because some people, and I always was infatuated this idea of being like a young, was just like boom, like came out of nowhere, was like young, was successful from young. A lot of people have that too. There's obviously some celebrities where it's like they're basically just rich and successful from a very young age, and that's always where I was thinking. Like I was always wishing and thinking that I was going to be that kind of a person. Um, and but I just think that's like totally not where I'm at, you know, because the things that I value and think about, they're I guess like the reasoning or maybe the type of concepts and conversation, it's not things that are going to strike when you're young. Like I mean, it's really taken, I always say it, like really until like right kind of around when I started this show, but even since starting the show, even just in the past 9 months, I feel like there's certain things I've said before that like I wouldn't say now. You know what I mean? So there's still a lot there's still a lot going on there. I don't know. It's like I don't feel like things are completely perfect. I don't know. At least not yet. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. So I'm kind of losing my train of thought. We're basically at work. So we're basically at work. So same time as yesterday. I'm not really sure how that's possible, but I think my light luck was like absurdly amazing. And then in conjunction with that, I was trying to speed, especially in the beginning. Anyways, it's been schla, but now it's time to buy schla. So, see you schla.